Welcome to Sports at 6. I'm Jen Landis.
And I'm Drew Steele. Good evening.
Breaking news with fan injuries at sporting events.
Literally.
On April 25th, 2009, while sitting 4 rows behind the visitors' dugout at Dodger Stadium, Susan Rhodes took the barrel end of a flying bat to the left side of her jaw. The bat blew up while Rhodes' eyes followed the ball, which landed in center field. Meanwhile, the bat tomahawked towards her. Rhodes suffered a concussion and 2 jaw fractures. What's next? A fan or player dying? Rhodes wonders how a sport can put its players and fans in such precarious positions, prone to assaults with a deadly weapon. Fans attending sporting events continue to get injured while innocently trying to have a good time. They try to blame everyone from the athlete, whose actions indirectly caused the injury, to the stadium or arena owner, to the companies producing the sporting equipment. Who's liable when a fan gets injured at a sporting event? Many people who have been injured while attending sporting events have changed. They have faced physical and emotional trauma, years of medical bills, legal fights, and haunting memories of the moment that their sense of safety in the grandstands was shattered. Unlucky victims usually say that they never thought this could happen to them, though they knew to watch out for foul balls and loose slap shots. They said that they hardly paid attention to the fine print on the backs of tickets that releases sport venues of liability to the fan injuries. This is the injured fan's major downfall. Since arenas and stadiums have taken precautions that are often overlooked, the injured fan wants to blame someone for the injury, and they can't win the legal fight. According to David Tavella, a venue must provide sufficient screening for the spectators who desire protected seats, and provide screening in the most dangerous sections of the stands. A venue that has satisfied those obligations has satisfied its duty to care of the spectators. What most people fail to realize is that if stadiums and arenas completely protected the fans, it would hinder their ability to see the game. For example, if netting protected all baseball fans, then a player couldn't try to catch a foul ball over the wall, and this could change the game of baseball. Lee Augustine shared that in court, any obvious risks associated with the activity are assumed to be known by the spectators. Also, many stadiums provide warning signs on walls and on the back of tickets. When spectators attend professional sporting events, they assume the risks of the inherent dangers of the event, including pucks, balls, bats, tires, and other objects which may come off the playing field and cause bodily injury or even death. So when you hear the coach yell, "Keep your eye on the ball," they might be talking to you. A recent survey taken by students at Niskayuna High School about fan injuries at sporting events had some interesting results. Nearly 70% of the students surveyed have seen a fan get injured while attending a sporting event. 80% of these injuries were injuries to the head. Most of these happened at baseball games, while a few happened at hockey games. Though most of these injuries were seen at baseball games, over half of the students thought that hockey was the most dangerous sport to attend. The students believed that the #1 cause of fan injuries was the fan just not paying attention. When asked about liability, over half of the students said that it's the fan's fault that the injury occurred. 40% blamed the arena or stadium, and only 2 people blamed the athlete. Stadiums and arenas are constantly renovating and adding new safety equipment. Most students believe that the glass around hockey rinks is the most effective protection for the fans. Since no one knows when a puck will fly out of the rink, when a bat will break, or a foul ball will be hit, it is our responsibility as spectators to look out for ourselves. Being more aware of the possible consequences and staying alert could help decrease the number of fan injuries. Whether it means finding new seats or bringing something to protect yourself, there are many ways that fans can ensure a positive sporting event experience. Completely isolating spectators from the playing field is unworkable and would be opposed by a vast majority of spectators that attend the events. Something must be developed to protect those spectators who are most vulnerable, while permitting the vast majority of the spectators to freely enjoy the event.
We'll be back with new information on steroids after these messages. The term steroids is often misunderstood. Corticosteroids, or glucocorticoids, are a class of powerful drugs used to treat pain and reduce inflammation. Anabolic steroids, on the other hand, are synthetic substances related to the male hormones that are used by athletes to boost strength and enhance physical performance. The use of performance-enhancing drugs first began in the 1950s when amphetamines were created. The amphetamines, which had been used by soldiers in the Second World War, crossed over into sports during the early 1950s. As time went on, the use of steroids became more common in professional athletes. Some people believe that performance-enhancing drugs should be legalized in all professional sports. Bennett Foddy, a bioethics researcher, says that the use of steroids is inevitable in every league. He believes we should remove anti-doping legislation to permit safe performance enhancement. We should focus more on testing athletes' health and fitness to compete. Foddy believes that it is important for us to be testing the health of these athletes so they can perform to their highest abilities. On the other hand, there are many people who believe that the use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs should be enforced in each and every league. They often refer to the integrity of the game and say it is negatively affected by each player who uses the drugs. The former head of the World Anti-Doping Agency, Richard Pound, believes that it is important for players to respect the rules of the game. He thinks that part of the game is seeing how far you can go on your own talent. Another argument against steroids in professional sports has to do with the risk involved and damage done to the human body. Anabolic steroid risks include liver damage or failure, roid rage, cardiovascular problems, kidney problems, and even high blood pressure. In 1992, Lyle Alzado died of brain cancer at the age of 43. The two-time All-Pro NFL defensive end believed that his disease was a result of more than 2 decades of steroid and HGH use. These risks alone persuade many people to stay away from the substances, and many organizations have created laws and policies to protect their athletes from the risks. In a recent survey performed at Niskayuna High School, nearly 90% of the students thought that the performance-enhancing drugs should not be legalized in professional sports. Nearly 80% of those students believe that steroids are a problem in every sport. Just about 30% of those students know someone who is using or has used performance-enhancing drugs. This is very sad because these performance-enhancing drugs started with our professional athletes and has now trickled down to the innocent youths. Since you can become better at your sport by lifting weights and exercising constantly, it makes more sense to avoid steroids and ban them in professional sports. There are just too many risks and injuries involved for many leagues to allow the use of these drugs. So many organizations continue to enforce the ban on performance-enhancing drugs and steroids. This has been Sports at 6.
See you tomorrow night.
Fail.
Many people.
These risks alone have persuaded many people. Corticosteroids or
Wait, stop it.
corticosteroids or glucocorticoids.
A venue that has satisfied those obligations has satisfied its duty to the care of... Oh my god.
You said satisfied?
Lyle Azaldo. Hold on. In 1992, Lyle Alzado. In 1992, Lyle Alzado